All right, so now I'm gonna take a video about how to run the scoreboard. It's actually a lot easier than it looks. I know this is a lot to look at right here, but I promise it's not as complicated. You can essentially ignore most of these buttons, and then these are all pretty straightforward. So before I even begin, I wanna bring your attention to this. So this is in this rink, I believe it's in every other rink. It's almost like a cheat sheet. So if you ever forget how to do something, this has instructions on how to do everything. There's also these two sheets that are in A rink. These have been here a while. I don't know if they're getting thrown out, but this is part of some USA tournament rules, so we won't need this. We're just gonna need this. So to start, you wanna make sure this is plugged in. It's just one cord from the back of the machine up into here, right here. The other thing we're gonna have to make sure is that the scoreboard is on and the lights are on. If the lights are all off, the scoreboard is not on. So that's something I'll take care of by getting with the Zamboni driver or an assistant coach. So just always, if I'm running around, just check with me and double check and ask if I made sure the scoreboard gets turned on, because that might help and save us a lot of confusion. All right, so before I explain the scoreboard, I just wanted to quickly go over the music. If you guys ever want to play music, all you need to make sure is that this is on, so just make sure it's bright. You can pull out this. There's going to be a disc right here, Hockey MCH. You can just put it in. Once it goes in, just let it read, make sure it's ready. And then all you need to do is you just have to click play once it's ready. Now, from my experience, this doesn't automatically have the machine play the second song. So every time the music stops, if you press play, it'll play the next track. I don't know exactly how to get it to just cycle through them all, but that's something I can figure out. But if you ever want to play music, once it says no text, you're good, click to play. You can click play, then you can stop, obviously play again, whatever you want. But that's if you want to play music for warm-ups. So once you know that this is plugged in and the scoreboard is on, you're ready to go. So regardless of what's been on before, we can start with a nice even slate by resetting the scoreboard. So to do that, really simple, you click function. That's going to open up all these options. Just click number 1. That corresponds with new game. Click enter. That'll reset the scoreboard. So again, that's function on the little screen. Click game number 1 or choice number 1. Click enter, and then that'll reset it. So you can always reset it. That way, whatever was on before us is completely gone. So once you've reset it, now we want to set up a time. So to set up a time, what you're going to do is you're going to click the corresponding time. So for warm-ups, I believe we do 3 minutes. However, I'll confirm with you once I know for sure. So for example, if you need to set any time, all you need to do, click the buttons that correspond with the time. Now notice, this isn't going to appear anywhere here. You're essentially inputting these numbers into the machine, and then you have to click clock set. That way the machine knows you want those numbers for the clock. So for example, for 3 minutes, you're going to click 300, clock set. That goes to 3 minutes. Obviously the scoreboard goes to 3 minutes. If you want to do 10 minutes, 1000, clock set. Now it's at 10 minutes. So again, input whatever number you want, click clock set. If you want to do 20 seconds, you can just do 20, clock set. That'll go to 20 seconds, but we'll keep it at 5 minutes for now. So we'll do 500, clock set. Now, before you start the clock, you want to make sure of a few things. Number 1, this clock up and down button corresponds to if the clock is going to count up or count down. This red light shows what it's on. So if it's on up, you want to click this button to have it go down. So we want to make sure the down button is on, and we want to make sure auto horn is on. Now, every time you reset, so again, to reset, function 1, enter. When you reset it, auto horn is turned off automatically. So you have to make sure we click this button to see the red light. It's okay if that's off, if you realize, so say you forget that this isn't on. Obviously, you can always just click it on in the middle of the game, but for some reason, say we don't even realize it and the clock hits 0, you can click and hold horn, and that'll cause the horn to go off. So always make sure that red light's on. So time is set. We make sure clock is counting down. We make sure auto horn is on. You're good to go. All you have to do, flick that on. Time starts counting down. If there's a stoppage in play, flick it back. On, off, on, off. Pretty straightforward. Now, so we know how to set time. We know what we need to make sure is set before we start. Down, auto horn.
We make sure the clock is off. So we know how to do time. The very easy one, score. Very simple. You can do this one of two ways. You can click this and that, home goal, visitor goal, or you can click home, visitor. You just have to click it once. It'll go on. So click visitor, goes up to 2, shows on the screen, you're all good. If you want to reset, and this goes for a lot of things, resetting, all you have to do, so say for example, say home scored, but you gave it to visitor. Real simple, click reset, click what you want to reset. I want to reset the visitor score. That resets it to 0. Now I can just set it back. So same thing goes for home. So if I want to reset, I can click home, it'll go to 0. This also works with these two. So say for example, home scored 3 goals and visitors have 2. Say visitors score and I gave it to home. I click reset. I can use these buttons as well. Home goal goes to 0, and then I can set it back to whatever it needs to be. So to add score, click home or visitor corresponding to which team scored, or you can click these 2 buttons. I find these easier because they're big and blue and it's really simple to touch. So now we're going to talk about the rest of these buttons right here. Home, shots on goal, visitor, shots on goal. You don't need to worry about it. We won't keep track of that. So you can ignore these 2 buttons. For this is penalty. So penalty is going to be the most complicated thing that I explain, but it's very straightforward. Again, if you ever need any help, you can look at this video or you can look at these instructions. They'll explain everything. So first thing you want to do, we need to set a player number. All right. So just like setting the timer, we can set the player number by the numbers, by inputting numbers. So let's say player 10 got a penalty for home. So we click 1, 0 for 10, click home player, that puts it up. So player number 10 has a 2-minute penalty. 2 minutes is the default. It'll also show right up there. So you can put in 2 if you want. So say home gets another penalty, say 96, click 96, home player, that'll add a second penalty right there. Now say for example, this player has a 5-minute major, 5-minute minor, however the ref wants to say it. So if we need to change the penalty time of somebody, it's really simple. Kind of like changing the time, click a number, so 500 for 5 minutes, and click home penalty time. That'll change it. All right, so again, say, now you have to do this. You have to change it before you input another one. So notice when I changed it to 5 minutes, it didn't change the top one, only the bottom one, right? So if I want to reset this, all I click reset. I click the player number. So 1, 0, home player, theirs is gone. So say again, if I want to reset this one, I click reset. I click the player number that corresponds with the penalty. So 9, 6. I click the home player number, and it's gone. So I'm going to run through that one more time because I know it's a lot. So again, to set a penalty, we have to input the player number. So let's say 25 to 5. Let's say it's on visitor this time. So visitor, 25's up, 2 minutes as the default. Say he has a 5-minute penalty. 500, visitor penalty number changes to 5. We're all set. Now, the last thing, this is super important. This is the most important thing. This button right here, penalty on and off. You see this dash right here? That means the time's going to count down. If I click this, that dash is now an X. The time will not count down for the penalty if the X is there. So we have to make sure, click that, make sure the dash is right there. Now, if I click the on button, it's going to start counting down with the time. So I'm going to show that, what would happen. Penalty on and off. So say it's off, so the X is there. If I click the start, you can notice the timer's going down, but the penalty is not. All right. Now, if you ever get jumbled up, say for example, you accidentally didn't have it on, right? Really simple fix. Just click penalty on and off so it's going. And then all you have to do is reset the time. So let's go back to 5 minutes, 500, visitor penalty number. You're right back where you started. So there's always a way to fix any mistake that you have. Now, last thing, period, really straightforward. Just click that button, goes up to period. If you want to reset it, I'm sure you've already guessed, click reset, period, right back to the first period.